Oh, whoa, hey, hi everybody. Welcome to Path of the Brush here on Gen Con TV. I'm Rick, your host. Tonight we are coming to you live from Hoplite Games in Lansing, Michigan. It's a fun little game store right in the on the Michigan Avenue area and between Michigan State University and the Capitol. And yeah, so we're going to be continuing working on some Star Wars Shatterpoint. I'll be working on Count Dooku and his Magna Guards and Jango Fett. So we were working on Dooku last week, and I had a lot of fun with them. But we got to make some correction, some course corrections, and some adjustments, and put some more effort on him. Our back end producer today is Will. Hi, Will. Come join up front. There he is.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing, bud?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Also doing well. Super excited for tonight's episode because last week I was using Army Painter is our exclusive paint sponsor for the show, and last week I grabbed some speed paints to do the cloak, but I grabbed some Series 1 speed paints by accident, and they had some issues reactivating, which is fine, but this is a great learning and opportunity for all of us. So I am now using the oak brown, or am I using the red? I'm sorry, fur brown by War Paints, and it's their new Fanatic line to correct the cloak issues we had. So if you can see here, this is where the cloak had some reactivation issues, which is, okay. It does give you like a worn leather look because the yellows pop out in the brown to give you that. But I wanted it to be more flat. And so putting on that new coat has been really nice. So let's watch how that works on here. And it's just like,
on that cam.
It's so good. Right. We're going to see that yellowed area right there. Just get that out and put a little bit more on there. And it's like smooth and it looks great. So the Fanatic line is absolutely doing its job in that it's really smooth. The coverage is clean. And yeah, so yay, Army Painter and your new Fanatic line doing all the things you say it will do. So
yeah, I got to play with it last week on Thursday at the paint night at the store. And if they weren't the sponsor for the show, I'd still be singing their praises. That was that Imperial Blue is like my new favorite blue. That's
nice.
Real nice.
Yeah. Watching you use it and applying it to your minis last week that you were painting was very fun to watch, and watch your reaction to the use of that color.
Yeah, it's like
excuse me. Yeah, it looks amazing.
It's nice.
Yeah.
That was one coat.
So good. For everybody watching, hello. If you have not done so yet, please take the moment and hit the heart and the bell here on Twitch so that if you aren't following or getting notifications when the different programs on the channel go live, that you do so, because that would be awesome. And just so you all know, if this is your first time tuning in, we're not your typical painting show where we're going to talk about techniques, unless you ask, and we'll talk a little bit about some stuff, sure, in that, but this is mainly just a hobby hangout. So join us. Hopefully you're painting with us tonight. And if you can, jump in the chat. Let us know what you're working on, what your current paint project is, because we love the community's painting. It's so cool and so good. And if you haven't yet, we do have a Discord on it's the store Discord here at Hoplite Games, but even if you don't live local, you can become part of our community, and we have a lot of active painters that are on the Discord that are sharing their amazing works and completed projects. So we'd love to see yours.
I love seeing that stuff, getting inspired by the work that other people are doing too. Like, oh, I got to put that in my toolbox.
Right.
Or something like
super
that.
Cool.
Yeah. Always enjoyed a good hobby hangout.
Yeah.
My ages ago, I like to draw a lot too. And ages ago, my friends would get together every Wednesday, and we would, like, 8 of us would all draw in the same place and, like, hand
Nice.
around our drawings and try out different techniques and whatnot. So it's always been a good time.
That is super cool. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of hobby hangouts just for the fact that, um, you know, it's fun to paint miniatures for sure. It really is. It's fun to paint them, but I find it to be more fun when you can do it with friends and sit around a table, share your knowledge on miniature painting, or just be like, "Hey, how's your week going? How you doing?" It's like checking in with your friends, right? How you doing? Is everything going good in your world right now? Or what's something that you've done this week or since we last saw each other that has brought you joy, right? Or that has given you like uh, a lot of like positive stuff in your life right now, because that's and if or if something's troubling you, we don't want to like just make it so that you can't you know unload if you need to, but it's a lot of fun to just be around your friends and enjoy each other's company and enjoy the hobby that we all love. And that's what this show is about, is just like come out and paint with us, right? If you're
Yeah.
not painting the same thing we are, that's fine. If you're not doing Star Wars, I mean, first I'm gonna be like, why are you not doing Star Wars? It's like super cool and stuff. But if you're not, that's also cool because there's so many amazing models in our hobby. Because I know right
Yeah.
now, I bet you Will wishes he was painting something from Conquest.
I don't know about wishes, but I was actually, a question I was thinking about asking you about today was,
Yeah.
have you ever gotten an idea for a project that just landed in your brain? Like, I want to stop everything else and start doing that. And I just had one of those hit me a little while ago. I was wondering if
In
I,
regards to like you're working on one painting project, and then as you're doing it, something sparks an idea for a new painting project.
yeah.
Yeah, that's every day. That's why I don't have anything in like my Conquest army fully, completely put together. Um, because I'll be like, ooh, I could be painting these kobolds or these gnolls for the kids project, the kids camp right now. And so I'll go do that. Then come back and be like, oh shoot, I need to do that because I need to be playing in the league. So back to Conquest or back to um this, Shatterpoint or what was the other
Ice
one?
and Fire too. It was the
Yeah,
last
Song of
one.
Ice and Fire. I got a lot of miniatures to paint
Yeah.
there too.
You got your hands full. No, I
Yeah.
was thinking about, I can share the mini too. I was thinking about this one right here, and kind of get an idea. Lots of armor, lots of plate mail, like me, a good
Oh
cat.
yeah, that's cool. That's
I
super
want to
cool.
do gilt, a gilded, like, designs in it. I want to do it black metallic, but with little gold, little floral patterns around the edges. And I
Okay.
know I'm signing myself up for madness, but it sounds like a fun kind of madness.
Madness. Tell me more. Oh man. Yeah, so since last week, I saw you Thursday. Um, Speaking of which, what is something that you've done in the past week, Will, that has been super fun in the hobby?
In the hobby, I have been working on a unit of my my Steel Legion, and they're just about done. I've got to base them. One really fun thing, the last couple of weeks, my wife and I have been experimenting with basing some of these models. So this has been nice. We get to been sitting around because I got this big set of like swamp effects. I want to put these big horrible monsters on swamps. So we've been taking turns. Like she's been adding stuff to this guy, and I've been adding stuff to this other guy to try and see what effects kind of land and
Okay.
give it some
What's she doing hobby right now?
verisimilitude. What's that?
What's she doing right now? She doing hobby?
She's playing with the kids.
Missed opportunity to hobby.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, being able to do that together has been great.
That is great. See, get everyone in the house involved. It's fun. and it makes it so that the hobby is even more enjoyable for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
How
again,
about
you
you,
might
brother?
learn something. Well, so I've been working on those knolls,
Okay.
for, like I said, for the kids project, for the Hoplite Heroes project that we do. And then I put a bunch of models together that, again, still for the Hoplite Heroes and Stormcrest Chronicles. So the Stormcrest Chronicles is a D&D game I run here at the store that is a series of one-shots, but so people that come to the store, if they want to play on Saturday nights, they can, but they don't have to show up every week. And the story still progresses because everybody's just a crew member of a ship. And it's like Star Trek, right? In tonight's episode of Stormcrest Chronicles, the ship, there's this threat at a nearby town along the coast, and the Stormcrest is called in to help facilitate its a mission here, or a something's gone missing, or a a plague has struck. All these, again, like an episode of Star Trek. And so everybody that shows up to play that night is the crew that the captain has designated as, you're the red shirts that are going to go and die for the sake of the land, of the realm. If you can succeed, do well, and come back to the ship. If not, I will find a new sailor next week. Type situation. And it's a lot of fun, because even though it's one shots, there is an overarching story. So if people come back and play in other games, they're still participating in this big overarching event, which is kind of fun.
Do they get to pick up with the character they had last time, or is it a new?
Yep, same character. It's always their same character. They make their own crew member, and yeah,
That's fun.
after they've participated in so many episodes, then they get, there's like milestone advancement, which is fun. But that's D&D for you, right? There's all sorts of different ways that you can engage with your community of players. But I have some players that show up every week because they want to be a part of that big overarching story, right? So,
do you ever have to wear like a rubber forehead kind of thing?
What do you mean?
For like a monster of the week?
No.
Or is that just Star Trek?
I just have to put down bigger, badder miniatures every week. Which is also part of my enjoyment is, I've been working on this miniature for a while, and now I can finally reveal it to the players. And this is one of the things I like about playing in person with any game, is when you're on camera and everything, there's a lot of like, I feel this, granted, this doesn't necessarily mean it's true or how others may perceive it. This is my interpretation, is there is some things that are lost in translation when you do a big reveal, right? Because if it's just theater of the mind, or if it's just a token on a video game, like on a screen of a big bad monster, is totally different than when I put down the actual ginormous Tarrasque miniature in the middle of the table. And everybody that's around that table's eyes go, oh, shoot. And it's a different vibe. And I love that vibe, because I like to do things where, as people are playing these games, they eventually figure out everything about every monster, right? So even if their character has never met a kobold, or if they've met a kobold 1,000 times, they know everything there is to know about kobolds. I bring in kobolds they've never seen before. And they'll be like, well, what's that? Well, it's a kobold. Well, that doesn't look like a kobold. No, it's a kobold. Why is it like bigger? Why does it have blades like an assassin? Oh, well, that's a great guess. That is a kobold assassin. I don't know anything about kobold assassins. Well, that's unfortunate. You're about to find out everything you'll ever need to know. So I like those in-person reactions, which is not to take away anything from any like streaming, obviously any streaming games, because those are also very enjoyable for many, not only to play but also to watch. I just enjoy the fear
Well,
I can put in the
that
eyes.
in-person reaction, it's so visceral, right?
Yeah.
You can't really get it any other way. So it's something that you give and you get.
Right. So right now, the big Gnoll bad guy is called a War Seeker, and the War Seeker is like 24 feet tall.
Oh,
He's ginormous.
that was that big
And
fella you were working on last Thursday, wasn't it?
correct.
Oh man.
Correct. And so I'm not, and I'll use the stats of the creature from the book that it's in, but I will not use the story arc that it is. So this War Seeker is a war chief amongst the Knolls who has been blessed or cursed, if you will, by the god of the Knolls, and has been given a bit of the spark of the deity, and made him go from being a normal sized Gnoll to a 20-foot tall Gnoll of destruction that has some powers beyond a typical Gnoll, obviously, and has been tasked with the elimination of the coastlines, cities, so that the Knolls can invade the mainland. Because all my Knolls are pirates. They're my sea dog pirates in the game, which is super fun.
Yeah. Oh man. So he's kind of like a maxed out Gnoll paladin of Gnollness.
It's more like an avatar.
An avatar.
Yeah. You know.
What's the Gnoll god? Does it have a name?
No, just God of the Knolls right now. We haven't, because it's in my own homebrew world, so it's like we haven't named it. I like it when I'll ask the characters, well, what do you think? What kind of name would the Gnoll god have? And they'll be like, and they come up with these crazy names. I'm like, ooh, that one sounds cool, and I'll write that down. Because it also gives them some ownership to the game and the world, right? Like,
Yeah.
ooh, yeah, I'm the one that came up with the name for the Gnoll god. And I was like, that's cool. Plus, it takes a little work off my shoulders.
Oh, go ahead.
Takes a little work off my shoulders.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I can see that. And if they come back with a new character, they might end up actually being a paladin of that god too.
Right, for sure.
You could spin around to that.
Yeah.
I've had an established pantheon.
Yeah, we're working on that. Like, I think it's Varix. Varix is the god. Varexa, I think, is what one of the players came up for the name of the goddess of the sea. Is Varexa, and she can be a very benevolent deity, and like all gods of the sea, she can also be not so much, because her moods may change like the tides.
I'll bet there are some cool tattoos of her.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of sailors pay homage to her through the adding of ink to their persons, for sure.
Earn her favor.
Yep. For sure. We actually have a ranger that worships her, and he's the one that came up with her name. I was like, well, what's her name? Well, I was like, come on. And he came up with it. And I was like, yeah, that's a cool name. Let's do that. And which also means he'll never forget it.
Yeah.
All right. So the Star Wars Shatterpoint miniatures, like I said, the cloak is coming along. I just took a darker brown and did the under part of the cloak, which also fixed all the yellowing from that other paint that I had used last week. So it looks a lot cleaner.
Now let's focus up on that.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, it looks a lot cleaner.
Oh, much cleaner.
Under there now. And so we have a light on the back and then a darker underneath.
Nice.
Yeah. And now I'm going to play a little bit with the black outfit that he has, because I feel like we could benefit from there being some darker shading, some interesting lighter gray highlights along the edges, along some of the higher parts to kind of give it some more depth, and then some silver edgings along where the folds in the pants are, because that sheen of a nice pressed, clean uniform is something I think Dooku would be very much about, right? He's a very I mean, if you look at the box art here, I mean, Count Dooku is a count, right? So he's obviously comes from a family of means, possibly. He's probably, I mean, we don't know the full backstory on Count Dooku, as far as I don't, but but just imagining everything that there is to know about him is he's got a certain way that he likes to live, right? And I think order and presentation is a thing with him. If anybody watching has any information or deep cut information on Dooku, we love that stuff. So please share it with us, right? All I know is in game he can do some pretty cool stuff. And in just a minute, I'm going to pull out some cards and kind of talk about some of the things that Count Dooku can do.
He seems like the kind of guy who would go to his mother-in-law's house with white gloves and check the tops of the cupboards.
Oh, right. Yeah, I can see that with him. Kind of, you have absolutely done a good job of cleaning, except for here. Obviously, because you're so short, you could not get to this, you know. And like last week when we were talking about the actor who plays Count Dooku, you know, Christopher Lee is just such a, in his own right, bad A, right? He's just so good.
Oh yeah,
in his real life, that his character portrayal of characters that have a certain level of ability is so believable. Not just because of his acting, but I think just because of his personal aura already, right? Is just like, this guy is, there's something about him that you either got to listen to and everything is believable.
Yeah, wasn't there like a moment in one of the stories? It might have been when he was playing Saruman, when he argued with the director or whatever. He's like, people don't act like that when they're stabbed.
Yeah, yeah. When someone gets stabbed in the back, they're not going to do that or sound like that. And he goes, and he's like, well, how do you know? And he goes, I know. It's like, oh, yeah. Yes, sir. You know?
Yeah. That's the thing you know from experience.
Right. And then that's when you go, okay, Mr. Lee, or Sir Christopher Lee, we will absolutely go with your insight on this. And please show us how that, oh, that was right.
All right, then.
Yep. It's so good. Big hello to everybody that's just jumping on. Thanks for joining us here at Path of the Brush on Gen Con TV. We are painting some Shatterpoint models today. I'm doing Count Dooku. I'm going to try to get him completely done today, if possible. And then Will is working on a terrain piece. Yeah. If you want to show that off. It looks so good. It looks like it's right out of Star Wars Rebels, man.
I was trying to go for a more cartoony look. I'm not sure how to weather something for a desert. So it's just...
right. The cartoon look is perfect for this because the artwork is very cartoony, right?
Yeah.
So it looks great. Right?
Definitely inspired by, if not like directly, you know, that they might even be the same models.
Right.
So it's cool to see the game played and all that cool terrain put together too.
Oh, absolutely. There was some great table builds and terrain builds at Adepticon a few weeks ago. And did you get a chance to walk around the Star Wars area?
Yeah, it blew my mind. Yeah. All those like the crashed ship sets that they had and all that fully painted stuff, they went really over the top with it. It was awesome.
Yeah, they did a great job.
And for another year, I wondered how I managed to dodge the spaceship tabletop like a skirmishing game. Like, I like my spaceships.
Right.
How am I staying away from that?
Yeah, they had so much good stuff. And Atomic Mass Games really showed out with all the things that they had going on.
Oh, yeah.
With all the tournaments that they were supporting.
And looking like they had the really good swag. The like the Judges Center looked really nice. Yeah, they had a really good showing.
Yeah, they absolutely did. Yeah, they are doing it right for sure. One of the things I thought was super cool that I had not seen before at their judges area and the prize support area was these things called bumper mats. I'm sure some of you watching are familiar with these, but when you're playing like Shatterpoint, you play on a certain sized area mat, right? So I think it's 3x3 for Shatterpoint. I don't remember off the top of my head, but then you have these bumper mats that you put down in front of your area, your zone outside of the play area to stage all your cards, your character miniatures, or whatever that you need, your dice, all that stuff. And they're usually themed, and they just look really cool. And we were here at Hoplite, we were able to get a couple of those to use as prize support for events we're holding. And I'm like, I just want to keep them for the for demo purposes because they look so good. But obviously, I'm not going to do that. We're going to give them away to our player base because I'd much rather see them bring it in and kind of be like, that's right, I got a cool bumper pad for my X-Wing game here, or my Star Wars Legion, or my Shatterpoint, and it just looks good, or Marvel Crisis Protocol, or whatever, right? So
that's the exact right kind of swag to give to your players.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if they're legging all the way out to wherever the tournament's at,
and
showing you love, that's a good like giving them that kind of love back is just right.
Yeah, for sure. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm actually thinking about I want to hold a tournament for for everything that they make, obviously, but they for like Shatterpoint, do a tournament, and then at the end of it, the winner gets a lightsaber.
Oh, dang!
Right? How cool would that be?
Like one of those Ultra Effects ones?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
the kind that are like battle, like you can actually fight your friends with it if they have one too.
That would be sweet. One of the guys I work with has been he's a huge Star Wars fan, and he's been working on a 3D printed to scale 1-to-1 R2 unit.
Oh yeah, so the R2. So that's again, when it comes to like the Star Wars community, not just the players of games, but the community at large, you got your 501st costumers, you've got your Mandalorian mercenary costumers, and you've got your like droid building association or something that make these to scale screen accurate droids that are just ridiculously cool, and when you go to like a convention, Dragon Con, San Diego Comic-Con, New York, all the big ones, they come out in droves, and they have remote controls now for their robots, and everybody wants to get a picture with R2 or what is it, Gronk droid, right?
Oh, the Gronk droid, the battery guy.
No, the one that's like big and black and has like the legs, like look like real legs in there.
Yeah, the big box. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you see one of those, you want to get a picture with it.
Yeah, I thought that was supposed to be a big battery.
And it might be. In what is it, the show Bad Batch? I feel like they have one that is part of their crew on the Bad Batch's ship.
They do, yeah.
Oh, excuse me, sorry. And I think that's just adorable that they have one of those. It's just like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's been working on that. He finally got all the robotics down, but it's like getting all the components 3D printed, running that printer nonstop is still going to take him about a year just to get the components done.
I don't doubt it. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's putting together the dome, and I'm actually helping him paint that up. He
Wow.
wants to get has a particular color scheme he wants to do.
Okay.
I'm not.
Is he not doing a traditional R2?
He's doing an R2 A7, so it's like R2 but green.
Oh, nice.
And he really wants to have it look like it just came off of the factory floor.
Oh,
Like
super
he knows that
shiny.
Star Wars is like the used universe, like the used car galaxy, but he wants something that actually looks like it's brand new.
Oh, that's super cool. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I could see that looking really cool at a show.
Oh yeah,
And he's a local guy here?
yeah. Oh, I told him he's got to bring that into Hoplite once it's done.
Oh, yeah.
So he knows.
I mean, he needs to take it to Comic-Con here, the Capital City Comic-Con too.
That's true. That would be very well received.
Heck yeah, it would be. Will he be done by July?
I don't know. The robotics I know is a really hard part, getting everything programmed. Like there's a lot of those. I mean, that's really complicated stuff, right? The timings of all that and getting it to work out right. But he's got that part down. It's just printing it and getting it done.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. And in fact, in a previous life, I don't know if you knew this about me, but I used to work doing tech support for GM to help make sure their robots kept their timing.
Oh, I did not know that. You are a super techie nerd.
Yeah, been around a little while doing that.
That's amazing. That is awesome. So I'm going on the base here because the base has a textured thing going on. I'm gonna blacken it, and then I'm gonna go and put other highlights on that as well. I'm just gonna base it black. Probably should have maybe nah, I was gonna say probably should have primed it black, but that's nah. I like whatever we're doing because getting to see the color go on the light prime is nice. It's like a satisfying thing for me, I guess. It should be like listening to Star Wars soundtrack while we do this, but we don't want to get any copyright infringements.
Oh yeah, it was John Williams, wasn't it?
I'm sure it was. I can't remember because there's only like 3, right? John Williams, Elfman, and I can't remember who the new kid on the block is.
Yeah, I couldn't answer that.
Yeah.
Here's a random bit of musical trivia
related
to movies for you, though. And it's just something I realized the other day. My favorite rock band is Rage Against the Machine, and I found out maybe like 5 years ago that they did a song on the Godzilla soundtrack from the very bad Godzilla movie from the 90s.
Okay. All right.
But come to find out, and that song was awesome. But come to find out that Tom Morello, which is the lead guitarist, was the lead guitarist to Rage Against the Machine. He did the soundtrack for Pacific Rim, or at least he helped with that lead song. The guitar riff, that's Tom Morello. So
all right,
they helped out with a bad kaiju movie, and then they helped out with a good one. I like that little.
That is pretty cool.
Nice to see that in my favorite band.
Heck yeah, it's an interesting choice for a favorite band. Is Rage Against the Machine? They do make some really good music.
They had some great concerts. There was there's one here in Michigan. Oh man, I think it was 96. It was Rage Against the Machine and Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
It was oh man, it was fantastic.
All right.
That was a really good show.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then the opening band for them was Atari Teenage Riot.
Okay.
There was like 3 people on the floor that came to watch Atari Teenage Riot, and then they ended up dancing with the guys who came to watch Wu-Tang. It was a really neat merging of cultures.
Yeah, I mean, Wu-Tang is awesome.
Yes.
Because we have so here in Michigan, here in Lansing, Michigan, to be specific, is a barbecue joint called Saddleback, and they have a barbecue sauce that is Wu-Tang themed, right? And they reached out to Wu-Tang to get permission to make this thing. And one of the Wu-Tang guys came to town to eat their barbecue and test this out to see if it was worthy, if you will, of the
I did not know
name.
this. That is awesome.
Yeah, yeah. It's a cool story. I'm definitely like summarizing it down to its most basic of information, but yeah, it's still pretty cool, right? And they gave them a thumbs up on the barbecue sauce.
What other thumbs up would you need, really? Did you know how they got their name, the Wu-Tang?
I'm sure it has to do with a kung fu movie from the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, it's just like the sound of a sword hitting another sword. Wu-Tang from the kung fu movies.
That is perfect. I saw recently that one of the actors one of the guys from the Wu-Tang Clan, you know, he loves kung fu movies, obviously, and he was in a movie called The Man with the Iron Fists.
Oh,
and it had
classic.
I believe it had who's the wrestler that played Drax? Dave Bautista.
No kidding.
Yeah, and so I saw that they're doing a Man with the Iron Fist 2 is coming out finally.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that should be fun. All right, I need a white out of here, or something close to white.
Well, it's already relaxing to paint minis.
Yeah.
Painting terrain is like another kind of relaxing.
Ooh, is it raining outside?
Huh? Oh no, painting terrain, the terrain pieces.
Oh, painting terrain. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought painting in the to rain outside. I was like, oh,
To the sound of rain. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you.
And I mean, painting terrain in the rain. I mean, now we're getting Dr. Seuss.
Terrain in the rain.
Yeah,
that sounds like a pain.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't want the terrain to be more vivid than the models, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
It's part of the painting, and like the bigger picture should be the characters that people are putting down. So you don't want to overdo it. It's relaxing.
But the terrain itself, when you do put it on the table, if it looks really good, it can draw people to the table to play, right?
Yeah.
Even if their models aren't like, you know, the best, because let's face it, you know, I don't paint my models the best. I paint them to get them done and get them on the table to play. Right, that is my whole goal of painting miniatures. And do they need to be perfect? Nah. Does it need to be fun to do the thing? Yes.
Yeah, the thing that really got me as a kid into a store that ended up getting me to my first miniature was looking at those the train guys, the model train guys putting together those landscapes.
Heck yeah.
There's just a mystique to that. Like somebody went through all that trouble to make that tiny little land.
Yeah.
I want to look at it. I want to look at the little land they made.
I want to look at it. Heck yeah. See, I just had a moment just now.
Oh,
yeah, putting an eyebrows, graying out his eyebrows, so he has his old man face here. And I made a unibrow and touched his nose a little bit, so I had to go in and make a little bit of a course correction there, which was perfectly okay and part of the process and done already, so we're good. But now I'm like, I better grab a brush that is more facilitating to those small details. So we're going to grab from our good friends over at Game Envy, who has provided these awesome brushes for us. The Phalanx Synth brush. I got this one here. This is a fine nylon. You can kind of see, I think here, just how tiny that bristle is.
It's just a little guy.
Just a little guy. So I'm just going to get a little bit on there. And I apologize because I have to bring this up to my face without that ring light burning my eye sockets. It burned me to the core. And get a better line on there. All right.
Yeah, good thing it's just paint.
And it's just paint, right? And the other good thing too is when it's on the table at 3 feet away, nobody's looking at the dang eyebrows, right? There you go.
Yeah, if they pick it up to look at the eyebrows and they messed up where everything was placed,
then I'll be like, oh, dang, that person wants to see everything, and that's pretty. I mean, that's cool, but please put my model down. I didn't give permission to pick up.
Yeah, that is a big part of etiquette in the store. Like it's awesome to want to see the other guy's miniatures, but it's even more awesome to ask.
Yep, to ask permission to grab a model before you touch it. Yeah. Oh, so if you're watching this, obviously you have an interest, even if it's just slightly in the orbit of painting. And you probably know that there's some certain etiquettes that one must take in painting, right? Or precautions, if you will. Let's go with precautions. So we have our brush, right? Painting, doing our thing. I need to go to a different brush. I'm going to let this one dry, and I'm going to clean it off. Or whatever. Some people leave the brush in the water, in their water cup, right? They'll just let it sit in there, and it'll curl the bristles and also cause the water to get up here into the metal part of where the there's a name for it. I'm horrible at the nomenclature of a brush outside of
fennel.
The fennel. Thank you. Jeez, I'm the worst. See that? Why am I even doing this? People are going to like this guy. Anyways, they keep it in there. Dave Taylor used to get really mad at me when I first was starting painting with him. That I'd always get distracted and leave my brush in there. Right? You can just set it down, even flat on the table or on the cup here. You know, you can just set it on there when it's not being used. But I've on TikTok recently, there have been these like challenges where people are painting their partners or their friends. So one person's on one side, the other person's on the other, and it's all about the reveal, right? So one person has probably done a really good job painting, and the other person has done a less so of a portrait of their friend. But I'll see these like mason jars with paint water and like 7 or 8 brushes just left in it. And my heart just like explodes with like, no, please take your brushes out of the water. But, what can you do? Besides just have a mild panic attack.
Are those my brushes? Is that alone to my brush?
As long as, I need to just get it in my head. Not my brush. But, I can't. I feel so bad for the brushes.
And you want to help that person protect their brush. Like maybe they'll paint more if they got a brush.
Yeah, exactly. Granted, I used to be the worst, right? When I had my show Painting Happy Little Minis, a bunch of companies sent brushes. So I had tons and tons of brushes to use, right? To the point where if a brush got curled at the end of the show, I just throw it away. I just grab another brush for the next episode. Yep. and it, you know, I was it was the worst, man. I respected the brushes and everything, but if it wasn't perfectly sharp at the end of the show, I could get a perfectly sharp one for the next one, right? Instead of like doing proper brush care, I was spoiled, I guess you could say in that regard. So
One of those moments where you don't realize how good you got it until it's gone.
until it's gone, yeah. Which is why I'm glad that Game Envy is hooking it up for us with some brushes, right? So thank you, Game Envy, as being our brush sponsor, and also they're the ones that make this cool collapsible cup. So I don't know, it's hard to show you because of water in there, but it's got this fun like
Nice.
silicone part to it, and you just can collapse it to make it more portable. Because a lot of painters, yeah, right there, just like that. It's super cool. And they make a bunch of other cool accoutrement, if you will, for your painting needs. So if you haven't followed Game Envy or the Hobby Holder, go give them a follow on their socials because they're amazing. It's an amazing company. And then same thing with Army Painter. Now, Army Painter or the Army Painter are really looking to get more eyes and views on their YouTube channel. So if you want to give them a follow over on YouTube, that would also be really cool. And of course, whatever with our Discord here at Hoplite Games where you can show off your painting, you should really join it. But what's more important is all the cool people that are making content on this channel on Gen Con TV here on Twitch. Because it's not just painting Happy Little Minis, as most of you know. It is a lot of other amazing content creators are hanging out, doing some super cool stuff. Mondays, you've got Peter versus the Machine, board games with the brothers Murph, who are just a joy to watch and watch the banter between the two. Dress to Quest is also on Mondays. Tuesdays is a light day, and there's no content currently, but that could change. Wednesdays, Actoroki and Path of the Brush. Thursdays, Blood on the Clock Tower and Roll with Rem Alternus. And Rem is an amazing and talented creator. And Fridays is Table Takes, which is presented by Gen Con. And it's kind of like your weekend news and information about the gaming industry and cool things going on and coming up and like what's being crowdfunded. That's super cool. And then they have Table Takes Game Night, followed up by Sarah's Table, which is a really cool look at some cool indie RPGs, little one shots. And sometimes I think they do like a little series around a particular RPG as well. That might be like 4 or 6 episodes. But all great content, definitely worthy of a look. And how do you do it? Super easy. Hit the heart, hit the bell, and if you have the opportunity to, subscribe. And you can do that using your, if you have Amazon Prime, you can use your Amazon Prime to get a subscription to any one Twitch channel. So why not use it for Gen Con TV? Because the more people that actually subscribe, the bigger opportunities that are available for Gen Con TV to bring even more amazing content to you, the viewer.
Yeah.
So if I'm anything, I am a cheerleader for the things that let me do this weird stuff on it.
Good people need megaphones, and they don't always realize it.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so now that the black on the uniform is kind of like dried and settled into what it needs to be for the model here, I'm going to do a little spot. I see a little spot that's getting away with not being fully dark as I would like it to be. So all right, oof. Let me.
I am really looking forward to seeing your store full of tables with terrain on them.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be nice.
That'll be a moment, man.
Heck yeah, I am too. and mainly just to see the community coming in and utilizing them, right? That's what's going to be really fun.
Oh yeah, the
Um,
buzz around the tables.
it's going to be awesome. We're very excited for it. All right, here we go. A little touch up there. All right.
Has there been any Kickstarters or anything that you've been following?
The last Kickstarter I was kind of like really interested in, and we backed is the CMON Song of Ice and Fire Tactics Kickstarter. That was just ended about a month and a half ago, I think, maybe.
Okay.
And I'm not really tracking any others currently, but I'm excited about that one because it gives you alternate. It's a playable game in and of itself on a smaller scale than what the Song of Ice and Fire miniature skirmish game is, but it gives you alternate sculpts to a lot of the leader miniatures for the bigger game of Song of Ice and Fire, which is fun that because it's compatible. I can use a Rob Stark alternate tactic miniature in my armies if I have a Stark army. But the other thing is, like a lot of CMON games, they have these big statue-esque miniatures that are playable, right? So Death May Die had Cthulhu that was like 2.5 feet tall or whatever, 2 feet tall. Then the Marvel Zombicide had the Galactus, right, which was a few inches bigger than the Cthulhu. And then now Tactics has a tower with Drogon on it.
We might still have a picture of that.
Yeah, it's a monstrous miniature, and that's what got me super like geeked up about it because I like those giant miniatures that are still playable. Yeah, so
humongous.
Yeah, it's a beast. Yeah, there it is. It's so good. So you can see the little yellow miniature there, and that little yellow miniature is a normal sized miniature in their scale, which is like a 32 epic, right? And then it goes. That's just the head of Drogon, and that's amazing.
The whole dragon.
It's the whole dragon too. It's so good. Again, I would use it for another game that I really like that's having its 50th anniversary this year. And I would put that down as like, that's the tower and that's its guardian. And people just be like, I'm out.
Time to go home.
Time to go home. I just can't. I'll do like, what, why, what's going on?
What treasure is worth that?
Right. All of the treasure. All right. So with Dooku here, I'm going to take some deep gray now to kind of do the other things we were talking about, some of the highlighting on the black where there might be a little light, and then around that deep gray is where I'm going to try to do the edging with some silver or gunmetal to give it a little bit more of a sheen on the edge pieces there. So I'm going to get a different brush here. I'm going to go with a character brush by Army Painter for this one.
And I'm just picking out some highlights on this terrain myself.
Yeah.
This gray, a little bit lighter gray on top here.
Yeah. And this is kind of, this is just giving a little more character to the miniature, right? And to the model. And it doesn't have to go everywhere, obviously. I am kind of looking a little bit at the box art and the box, how they did some stuff on there. To kind of give it a little bit of what they had done. And they mainly did it on the pants. So, which I feel would be appropriate because they're going to, you know, as you're walking, and if you have like a military walk, your pants are going to see a lot of movement, different light hit on it, and you might get the, like, especially if they're starched, you will see, even in camouflage, sometimes a little hint of like a sheen over it from as light reflects off the starch, which is kind of an interesting play, right? And that's one of the other cool things of like how people, when they come to their model, right, and they're looking at, here's what I can do, and this is what will make this effect happen, right? Or do, um, to give it a little bit of realism, I guess you could say, even in a more of a comic-y um, look of a miniature. And how was the light going to reflect off their clothing as they're in their the way their pose is, or how their movement might be in their model here. So I think it's neat when you see those higher tiered painters uh, bring that, and you're just like, wow, that's I can imagine this model literally walking across a field or across down a hallway, and the lights reflecting in such a way that it would give that effect, right? So it's pretty cool.
That's that's always been a lofty aspiration. To someday I'll paint that hallway with the lights in it, and the guys. Someday.
Someday. Yeah, there's always the some days until there's not, because you did it.
Yeah.
Not to make it dark. It's some days until it's done. Right.
Do you have any big painting challenges, or like a big milestone paint job that you did that really sticks out?
That's a great question. Yeah, and it is Star Wars related. When I was working at Alliance Game Distributors and doing painting Happy Little Minis with Dave Taylor, we um, we had to, or we didn't have to, but we chose to, and it was just a crazy undertaking. Is the base box for Star Wars Legion. We worked on that together until it was done. We did just a continual episodes painting those miniatures until we finished that entire box, and we were both like tired, if you will, at the end of that, because it was a challenge, just because there were so many models in that base box for Star Wars Legion. And then we also, because they sent us the entire first wave, so we had like snow speeders and ATSTs that we had to paint too, to really get everything that we needed to get done. So it was, yeah, we were tired at the end of that.
Getting all that done that's a big lift, though.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it was awesome, and they looked great. And it's kind of funny, is I think we gave away most of the miniatures after we were done. Like someone won the ATST or the ATSTs, and then someone won the snow speeders. Yeah, so it was cool. All right.
Yeah, that first box was like Luke and Vader in it.
Yeah.
The Battle of Endor, wasn't it?
I don't know if a Battle of Endor, I can't remember, but I feel like it had some Endorian, because I think it was the Battle of Endor, because you also had the the rebel soldiers looked like they had like the Endorian helmet.
Yeah, yeah. I want to call them jungle troopers, even though they were in the redwoods.
Right.
Which are awesome to see in person, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Have you ever, besides seeing those, have you ever gone to a location that you know was a TV show or a movie spot, just for the sake that you knew that that's what it was? Like a certain house or street there, something was shot.
all the sets that I would really want to see in person are the ones that are like the Death Star mock-up. So they don't exist in a real place.
Right.
The Redwoods, that was accidental because I just wanted to go camping in the Redwoods. And then I remembered, oh yeah, that's Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. It's cool.
I have a feeling that influenced me subconsciously in some way, knowing that I could go do that
Go
to the
to Endor.
Redwoods. Yeah, go to Endor for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
That was a really fun trip. My buddy and I rented we flew out there from Michigan and we rented a convertible Mustang. This is this is 2000, maybe 2002.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. And they airport security was up, so it was past 2001.
Okay.
And got to drive in the mountains in Northern California in a convertible Mustang that was a manual. So I was the only one who could drive stick. So that was entirely for me. And that was just dessert the whole time. That just those mountain roads, if you like driving, oh, what fun.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. In a past life, I used to have a Nissan Xterra.
Okay.
Which is, when you buy it, you also get a first aid kit in the back because it's a vehicle that is supposed to be one that you would go out and do all these fun activities in, and like that hiking and camping and stuff. And I was living in California, so I would go and do all the things that one would do like that. Go to, the mountains, go hiking up and go out in the desert, go camping out in the desert. Yeah, because I was in San Diego.
Okay.
So there's, you can kind of get a little bit of everything if you are willing to drive a couple hours in any one direction.
Yeah, we ended up driving down. That's Highway 1 right next to the ocean, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we drove down that from all the way from Santa Cruz down to LA so we could go to Joshua Tree. And we stayed with a friend at LA, and then we went to the Joshua Tree.
That's super cool.
Yeah. That was a very fun trip. Had swordfish steaks for the first time, which
yeah, those are pretty good. I've always wanted to go to Skywalker Ranch.
Yes.
Right. That would be one of those, if the opportunity presented itself, I would love to go to Skywalker Ranch and just kind of like, I wouldn't go there to like pick the brains of anybody unless they were available or would be interested in allowing me to do so. I just want to go and just see where the magic's done, right? See all because at this point, it's got to be like going into a museum, right?
So, all
right, hey,
I'm gonna feel like going to church.
Yeah, I'm gonna open up the box here real quick and pull out the Dooku cards.
Ooh.
And so they kind of show off like what are some of the things he can do, right? So he's got. So let me try to get all the right things out here. They have cards that are in foreign languages, and here's I got to find the right one.
I'm sure he can rock the body that rocks the party.
For sure. I agree. Form 2 Makashi. That looks dual training mock blitz. No, that's not it.
White glove mother-in-law.
Right.
Although, yeah. You say it like that, and you like, maybe I should hit the HR button on that one.
I think Form 2 Makashi duelist training. Here we go. All right. Hey. So, he's got Force Lightning, Lightsaber, and Duelist training, and Force Mastery on the other side, which has. And it's kind of interesting that there's like these the dice combinations to accomplish something here. But on Count Dooku's big card here, it says he's the leader of the Separatist army. At the start of this unit's activation, choose another allied Separatist alliance character within 3. I'm going to say within 3. It gives you a circle and an icon. I don't know the icons.
It's probably on the measuring stick.
Yeah. Each character in this unit and the chosen character may move. Ooh. So if they're within a certain range of Dooku and he does leader, he can move any unit that's with him. Surely you can do better. When a character in this unit is targeted with an attack, this unit may spend 1 to 3 resources to use this ability. While modifying the attack roll, change 1 burst result to a shattered for each resource spent. You have twice the pride, double the fall. After a lightsaber attack targeting an allied character within 2 is resolved, this unit may use this ability if the attack roll contains no bursts results. 1 character in this unit may move and then may make a 5 dice lightsaber attack targeting the attacking character. Yikes. And then his final one is brave but foolish. Once per turn, when an allied primary unit or allied secondary unit is wounded by an enemy effect, after the effect is resolved, refresh 2 of the resource icons, then choose an allied Separatist alliance supporting unit. 1 character in the chosen unit may move and make a 5 dice attack. Golly. Yikes. Count Dooku is a beast, which is super cool. All right. I'm going to let Dooku kind of dry right now before I go back and do a couple other things to him. But he's looking way better than he did the other day. I know you probably can't see the grade area that I did on his pants.
Let's see if we can get a close-up on that.
Yeah, I don't know if we can.
There we go. Kinda.
Yeah.
I can see the highlights that you're picking out there.
Yeah. It looks better in person. But they're there and it looks interesting. So yay.
And you know you're looking at Dooku.
And you know you're looking at Dooku. Yeah. So we'll let him dry where he needs to dry. And while he's doing that, we're going to come back to this Magna droid and put some more paint on him. Now that we're looking at him, I can see a few spots where the paint kind of like moved away from where it was originally put down. So we will reapply in a couple spots.
So was that Magna droid, do you think that was assembled by like super science or savagery or sorcery maybe?
I would say sorcery, a little bit of savagery, but absolutely super science.
Okay.
You know, because that's how the future is, right? It's a strange new world filled with all 3 of those things. If you did not already know that.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. But, you know, the good thing is in a world like that where, you know, probably people that would be considered like tyrants and bad guys, because wasn't Dooku's Darth moniker Darth Tyrannus?
Yes.
Right. So with tyrants and baddies like that, you would need someone that is going to break their bonds and fight for justice, right?
Absolutely.
And they're going to need friends. That individual is going to need friends, and that because you know this all happens like some may think this all happens in a galaxy far, far away, which is probably true, but it also could have been after the great planetary collision between the Earth and the Moon back in 1994, when man's civilization was cast in ruins, and then 2,000 years later we find ourselves here, right, in that strange new world with savagery, sorcery, and super science as a primary thing. And that individual who broke his bonds would obviously have friends. One of them was probably like some cat-like beast called a Mock named Ukla, And then, of course, there's always got to be a princess, and her name's got to be Ariel. So Princess Ariel, right?
No relation to the mermaid.
No, yeah, no relation to the mermaid. But you know, what kind of weapon would they carry? You know, it's the future, right? And there's science and super sorcery, or sorcery and super science. And so probably something like a light blade or a sun sword, right?
Yeah.
But you'd have to have strength, courage, and all that to really make it happen. So big shout out to our good friend Thundar the Barbarian for being that individual and allowing it to take place. So thank you, Thundar.
That's our guy.
That's our guy. Look at him right there. Thundar the Barbarian. He's so good. We love Thundar.
Those boots look really comfy.
I agree, right? So if you're a fan of Thundar, give us a big thumbs up in the chat. All right. So for the Magna Guards, like energy, I'm gonna use this cool like wicked pink for the energy burst on the staves.
I was trying to remember what that looked like. I thought it was a transition, like it was pink close to the metal, and as it arced out, it became like whitish light blue.
Whitish. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make it all pink first, and then I'll edge it with some white.
Nice.
This is a really rich pink, which is cool.
That's something I've been enjoying on miniatures that's more of a recent development where they model in the energy effects.
Yeah.
Like they'll model in fire and electricity and whatnot, and you get to play with those colors.
Yeah, for sure. Because I don't know if I told you this in the first episode where we were doing these during Dooku, is the arm that he has that's outstretched. There's an alternate arm that has force lightning gathering around his hand.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I was like, I'm not gonna do that. But it is pretty cool looking.
As a kid, like the first time I saw Return of the Jedi, and it got to that point when the Emperor shot Luke with lightning, I had to do some math in my head there as a kid. I'm like, did I pick the wrong side? That dude has huge lightning out of his hands.
Right? It's like, okay, so there's obviously going to be a winner here, and it's not going to be the guy who can't shoot lightning.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem the math right. Oh, wait, the giant robot in black is going to throw the guy with the lightning down a shaft into a nuclear reactor. Okay, I see how this works. Evil turns on itself. Nice.
What?
I know, right? How dare they?
Classic.
Exactly. All right.
Oh, coming along nice. Getting there.
That looks so good, man. Folks are going to be like, oh, man, that right there's... We got to have that one on the table every time. I'll be like, yeah, you do.
I have to remember the colors that were used because there's more to this too, right? There's a lot more terrain in that first box.
Oh, yeah, lots of terrain. Lots and lots. That's
another fun recent development. Like in the skirmish games, giving out terrain. Just love that. Like, help me with the setting, please.
Right. It's one of the things I also think really helps with immersion in a game, right? Is if you have a nice terrain setup in your game, one, it really gives you the feel of the theme, but also it can help you with your narrative aspect if you have some sort of narrative game going on within your game, right? And like if you're on Tatooine, the terrain could be a certain thing. There might be a sarlacc or something in there, or a the skeletal bones of a crate dragon, right? Whoop.
Oh. I do love that though. And when you're playing playing games and you get those set pieces, and maybe it's just an accident you put something there, but then you think about the story around it, and you that builds itself into the narrative that in a way that you get to be creative to fill that gap. I have a feeling a lot of the stuff that got so popular in Star Wars is because of that. There's so many, like the Krayt Dragon, they put, this will be an interesting skeleton to have them walk past. And it just lit up everybody's imaginations for so many years until eventually they're like, well, we'll make this an epic set piece in The Mandalorian. People will finally see a Krayt Dragon and what they're capable of doing. That was that was a way that you start a second season. Holy cow. When you look at the making of videos, that's something that I always dearly enjoy. Like for Dooku, they made his lightsaber, the curved hilt one. That was just because it was easier for him to hold on to. It was a Filipino design, it was like a Filipino blade. But they took that and just because it was easier to hold on to, I believe part of Dooku's character as a duelist and how he dueled, it was all informed by that choice that they made. That was just so it would be easier for the actor to hold on to the thing while they were filming the sword fights. And that's something that attracts me to wargaming, just in general, just putting together the models, because as you're putting together your army and you have those happy little accidents, and then you build a story around it. And now it's yours. That's you. And it's not just your model, but it's your story. And you're so much more invested in the guys that you're putting on the table. And then the dice betray you. And then the dice betray you. And that not always. Oh, yeah. As we say, painted models do roll better. Oh man. That's happened to me many times over the years. Like the one of the models that I got into ages ago, because I paint a lot of fantasy stuff like Conquest and Age of Sigmar, and I like the Chaos Knights. I like knights on horses and whatnot. And one of the very first knights I thought I painted the best, and I was so happy with it. And this is when I was 14 years old, and he broke. The lances were always really long, spindly things, and they were really easy to snap. And that lance broke, and I thought, well, I didn't have the glue to glue it together at the time, so maybe that broken lance would become a part of the story because the snap looks sharp. So I thought, yeah, this guy is a leader of the broken lance. And ever since then, that is absolutely driven the narrative for any of the anytime I put together a batch of knights, all right, I got to break somebody's lance so the broken lance can continue. Somebody broke it on something, and now this lance is more of a sword, and he's just stabbing people with the jagged end. And he's the guy who's the best out of the crew. But then you feel bad, getting your fancy, expensive model, putting it together, and then just taking the lance and just snapping that puppy. That doesn't feel so good. Until you get used to it after many, many years of doing it. Not sure why we lost Rick. Maybe the laptop died on us. Not exactly sure. That's what happens these days. Let's see if I can talk to him about it. Yeah. Working on putting this. I imagine this is going to be like a desert scenario. I didn't see the map that this came with. If it came with a mat to put it on. So I don't want to make too many assumptions. Oh. I think Rick's waving his. Oh, I got it. Aha.
What's
There
up,
we
buddy?
go.
Yeah,
I was looking at the wrong place,
all good.
and we're back.
Yep. But you were right. Yes, it was the laptop. So everything's plugged in, but the attachment from the cord to the computer wasn't fully plugged in. So it did die, and just took a second to reboot and get back in the fight. So,
Well, I did my level best to fill the dead air. Sorry about
you
that.
did. I listened to you. You did great. All right.
Yeah, but ever since that first happy little accident, that's like something I'm always looking for whenever I'm working on the models. Like if something weird happened, well, hold up, we can make a story out of this.
Yeah, I like that. Your Broken Lance story is very cool.
I'm trying to. It was like I think it was a game where Games Workshop teamed up with like Milton Bradley or something, and they made like this massive plastic playing mat.
Mm.
And it was one of their few like team ups, but it
Okay.
was a whole bunch of still on sprue models that you had to put together. There's a bunch of guys with cannons and definitely Chaos Knights. Oh, I gotta see if I can find the name of that game.
It sounds like, did they not back in the day do a what was it called? I don't know if it was actually Milton Bradley though.
Yeah, well, it was another game.
Ah, man, you know who would know it?
Who?
Dave Taylor. It sounds like something that was probably around when he was a part of the GW workforce. So,
no, there was a few Milton Bradley Battle Masters.
okay.
Battle Masters. Yes, it was Milton Bradley.
Okay, great. Good call.
Yeah, Battle Masters. Man, that was a long time ago.
Many moons.
Many moons. Oh yeah, it even had a tower. No, I'm looking at the Wikipedia thing for it, and a giant weird hex map.
Okay. Speaking of many moons, it reminds me of a show I was watching today while I was sorting Magic cards. It didn't have many moons, but it did have a moon that exploded. The Time Machine, the more modern movie, I think it came out in 2003, maybe.
Was that based on was it Orson Welles?
Orson Welles novel, yeah.
Yeah.
But it had, I think, it had the guy who plays Robert Baratheon is in it as the best friend to Alexander, the scientist, who's the main character, played by, I think it's Guy Pearce, who plays the scientist.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah. It has Orlando Jones in it as well, which is cool. So something I'm going to do different with my Magna Guards in comparison to how they look on the box art is these ones have like this whitish gray cloth cape, and I don't like that. So I'm going to actually make mine red. Red cape.
Guy Pearce was Alexander Hartigan.
Yeah.
Had Jeremy Irons in it too.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons as the smart Morlock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun. That story is interesting, and it was as a treatise about like the social stratas and classes, hidden in some sci-fi. Funny how often that happens.
I know, right? Yeah, the whole concept of him going back in time to try to prevent his fiancee and true love from dying, and he just notices that every time he goes back, it doesn't matter. She is destined to do so. So he figures that by going into the far future, he'll find answers that'll help him to go back and fix the problem, only to discover that the far future has a lot of chaos. And one of the stops is, the future is now, is this big commercial playing on a television screen or a screen in the middle of the street. And everybody's like almost utopian in things. And they're going to detonate this like 20 megaton bomb to start working on this like retirement home on the moon, lunar resorts, or whatever. And then he goes into the future again, only to be like shook by the moon basically blew up because of this big megaton bomb, and now shards of the moon and parts of the moon are just crashing to Earth in a very dystopian, apocalyptic way, and he then gets blasted into like 800,000 years later.
I wonder if that informed the writers of Thundar in any way.
Oh, it absolutely helped them. For sure. Guy from turn of the century New York goes into the future, stops for a brief moment in the late 70s, early 80s to inspire the Thundar the Barbarian. Heck yeah. You know the saddest thing about Thundar, though, is?
What's that?
I bet you they lost the technology and everything to make maple syrup.
That would be...
If maple trees even still exist in that world, which if they don't, why even live in it,
And that's how you know the bad guys won.
Right? No maple syrup, no maple trees. Ridiculous. Why even live in it? Raise your hands, everybody in the chat, if you are a big fan of maple syrup, as I am. And if you don't think far future should forget that knowledge, and maybe we should vault it so it's never lost. Nobody wants to save the maple trees and the maple syrup. Now I'm just disappointed.
We can't let Canada be the sole place for the rebellion.
Right. Dang it.
We can rise up too.
Yeah, absolutely rise up. Yeah, I love the different kinds of maple syrups that exist now. And what's funny is I only get really nostalgic about maple syrup when I'm painting miniatures, because sometimes the viscosity of the paint reminds me of the viscosity of maple syrup. And then I'm like, I want a waffle with some bourbon barrel maple syrup.
Bourbon barrel maple syrup?
Oh, yeah, it's so good.
That's highfalutin. Where'd you get that?
Meijer, Walmart, wherever. You can get them right there. They're not cheap.
Going to the bottom shelf for our syrup, and we need to look higher.
You need to look at the top shelf, man.
Yeah.
You need some of that top shelf maple syrup. You got bourbon barrel ones. They've got these different infused ones. Like I have a jalapeno infused maple syrup.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I don't like spicy food, but the bite you get, so you get a sweetness, and then you get a bite of that heat, and then it returns to the sweetness. And it's like, oh, that's really good.
Oh, when they get that balance just right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So and that was another question I was thinking about. That reminds me of is there any food that you've had that you had to go someplace to get that you would go back to, like just to eat it?
Yes, absolutely. I love In-N-Out burgers.
Okay.
That are mainly in California. So every time I go to California, I try to get a In-N-Out burger, a double, which is just a monstrous bit of burger. and I hope it still is. It's been a while since I've had it, a couple of years. So next time I go out to San Diego, I'm gonna definitely get a In-N-Out burger. And what's interesting is because I love hamburgers. Again, maple syrup hamburgers. I mean, you can mix them, sure, but no. Um, like the burger I want when I'm here in Michigan is apparently there's only one of the franchises left, and it's Hot Now.
Whoa.
Yeah. And
Did any other state have those?
Not that I'm aware of. And I want a Hot Now burger. And recently, one of our local artist friends, Ryan Holmes, did a throwback painting of an In-N-Out burger joint. Looks like a oldie car parked next to it. I think it was the DeLorean, actually. The Back to
Nice.
the Future DeLorean. I was like, oh. But I've heard that there's still one open, but I can't remember where it's at. And I want to do a day trip to wherever it's at, get an In-N-Out burger, probably be disappointed because yeah, at this point I have such a weird remembrance of what they were like that do they even taste the same? It's been 30 years, I think, since I've had one.
Yeah, that was, I don't know if they made it through the 90s. I'm seeing if there's any of them left.
All right. I heard that there is one left.
It looks like it in Sturgis.
Sturgis, Michigan?
Michigan, yep.
All right. I don't know where that's at. Is that over by Grand Rapids?
I don't know by the name of it, but let's go to the map. Let's bring up the map.
So for anybody else watching and listening and whatever, if you have a particular burger or meal or restaurant that when you're near one, you gotta get it.
That is, it's right next to the border of Indiana and Michigan. It's way down southwest.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. Because if you're in Tennessee, Pals is a place to go, right? And I think they're only in Tennessee. So what's only in your state joint, that is where people should be going to get a good meal or even a good burger. Like if I go to Hawaii, I go to Kailua and go to the Shack and get a burger at the Shack right there in Kailua. I think it's Enchanted Lakes, actually, is a suburb of or a smaller little community, but it's in Kailua for all intents and purposes. But go to the Shack and get a burger there. Ooh, that place is amazing.
Here in Lansing, have you been to Olympic Broil yet?
I have. Yep. For an olive burger.
Classic. I've been going there since I was like 9 years old.
Nice.
Love that place.
I like Olympic Broil's deep fried mushrooms.
They're my wife's favorite.
Ridiculous in regards to how big they are and just, so flavorful. Oh, so good.
Those guys are generous with those portions. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
if you ever find yourself in Lansing, that's my kids. After we went to Olympic Broils, they called that Lansing famous. It's a local joint everybody likes. Yeah. So they've been trying to collect Lansing famous places to show to friends who are from out of town.
Nice. We had some other really good spots here, like Saddleback is good. We have Cravings Gourmet Popcorn, which is a really cool spot. I like those unique spots that you can only go to, even if it's just in a town. It's yep, this is only known to be here. Oh, it's amazing. So
Yeah, there's a place that was kind of like that. There's a town in southwest Michigan called Paw Paw.
Pawpaw.
Paw Paw. Yeah.
Okay.
I found the places back when, right as my wife, we were dating at the time. She had just
Okay.
finished college, and I wanted to do something special for her. So
Nice.
I looked up like a romantic getaway, and then these really cool cottages that we could go to. So,
Nice.
and they were in Paw Paw, but it turned out like the downtown Paw Paw had a whole bunch of eateries, and I don't remember the main dish that I got at that place there, like at the big restaurant, but they brought out a Greek chili that
Wow.
changed my life. I didn't know they could make chili like that. And it was so very good.
That's cool. Greek chili.
Yeah.
All right. In Paw Paw, Michigan.
Yeah. Excellent.
All right. Was it like at a diner or a Greek diner?
It was a bit fancier than that. It was more of a sit down.
Okay.
I wouldn't call it a greasy spoon.
Okay.
But it wasn't a black tie affair either.
Okay. Are there black tie affairs in Michigan? I'm not aware of any.
Maybe.
But I've never been to every town or every restaurant, so I can't say.
Grand Rapids probably has some.
Oh, yeah. Grand Rapids and Detroit, maybe.
Yeah, Detroit might.
Yeah, Lansing doesn't. It just doesn't scream.
Yeah, we have some fancy places, but not that you would have to wear a tie to.
Right. It's funny.
Yeah, I don't know if Jeff has talked up Bodie's Steakhouse to you yet.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah, Corey and I went there for our anniversary last year. That was choice.
Yeah, that's a nice spot. It's interesting. It only seats like 4 people.
Yeah.
That's an exaggeration, viewers. Brody's actually seats probably closer to 24 to 30 total, and that's it at any given time. It's very, I mean, it's an intimate affair to go eat at Brody's.
Worth it.
Yeah, for sure. The food is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I like it with the red cape.
Oh, that looks great. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll call that one good with red cape because it is almost time.
Oh my gosh.
So let's go ahead and also big shout out to all of our sponsors. Again, we've got Gen Con TV for allowing us to be here. Right. Sorry, got my rubbing on my ear. Tabletop Gurus, Hoplite Games, obviously Army Painter, their new War Paint Fanatic line. Go check it out as it will be in stores soon. Or just come here to Hoplite Games because we have it on the shelf, so you can get some. Not a little humble brag. And then big shout out to Game Envy and all the other companies that we have the joy of working with, like Atomic Mass Games. So they are not a sponsor of the episodes. We want to give a big shout out to them for making such a fun game in an IP with Star Wars Shatterpoint that so many people enjoy. And when games are made around those IPs, we all gravitate towards it. It's super fun. Yeah, and we're really excited for Gen Con this year. I don't know who's going. I'll be there. There will be some of, I know Mark will be there. I don't know if Will be there, but some other folks that I run around with here in Lansing, we're all going down there. We're going to have a really good time. Definitely going to be promoting Path of the Brush. We're going to find some way to encourage everybody that participates in any of the painting events at the show to come and watch us for the next season after Gen Con, because this season will go up to Gen Con, then we take that break, a little break right then, and then we bring it right back and take it to the end of the year for season 4. And season 4 will be another season of guests. We're looking at lining up some really good guests for that season. They'll talk about their Gen Con experiences, because they're all going to be at Gen Con, and then also, what have they got going on and what we're looking forward to in 2025. So yeah, big shout out to everybody in all those wonderful spots. And again, a big monster shout out to everybody that watches, tunes in, and enjoys the show and paints with us. Even though we may not see you or hear you, we still see that we have, quite a few viewers, and we appreciate y'all. But if you haven't yet, go to the Hoplite Games Facebook page. The top featured comment is a link to our Discord. Even if you don't live here in Lansing and can't come and participate in person at our store, you can participate as part of our community. Show us the miniatures you're painting, give us your works in progress, tell us how you did this cool effect, or how you got this non-metallic metal to look as good as it does. We want to see all those wonderful miniatures that you're all working on out there. And also, if you see it at a convention, I will be at C2E2 here in about 2 weeks in Chicago, running the paint and take there. So make sure to swing by, say hi, grab a miniature, have a seat, paint it up, or just grab a miniature, take it home and paint it. I don't care. But I want to see you and say hi and everything. So yeah, that's where I will be. 3 wonderful days at C2E2, the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Big shout out to Will. Thank you so much for maintaining the controls behind the scene, and yeah, he does a great job, right? So we will be back next week, and until then, I'm Rick, and I hope to see you all at your friendly local game store.